Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the TLC Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great as well, man. Another great Ring of Honor show this past weekend. I want to start off right off the bat, man. What a great show Final Battle was.
Really, it was a nice show.
Yeah. A 4-hour show. I was a little surprised they did add a lot to the show from when we were last on.
They did. They really did. And then
Which we did expect that some. Yeah.
Right. And then it was just kind of like it all made sense though, too.
Yeah. At no point did I look at it and say, "Oh wow, it's been a long show."
Right.
Like I by the end of the night, I look over and it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I'm like, "Oh wow, I've watched this whole show."
Yeah.
But yeah, a fantastic watch. And anybody out there, if that doesn't sell you on getting Honor Club, I don't know what does.
Right. And now we're going to have a Ring of Honor women's TV title.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited for that.
Yes. Now, my thing is that now AEW, Ring of Honor have secondary women's singles titles.
When does WWE?
When does WWE? I mean, they could really just blend it all together and make a women's Intercontinental Champion.
I think that'd be fantastic, a women's Intercontinental Champion.
I think that's a good idea, but what do I know?
I know I theorized with you. I think it was on this show with you. I said that I thought in lieu of just calling it the women's Intercontinental title, if you didn't want to just go women's, versus men's, you could just call it the European Championship. And it would be the European Championship would be like basically the old school European title, just with the white belt.
Right.
And it's a women's championship. And you could have a great tournament, maybe a la the Continental Classic for the women on the men, or the women's in WWE. You have like your own version of a Continental Classic.
You know what, though? Yeah, I don't think WWE really enjoys the round robin format.
No, I don't know that the WWE audience is quite ready for the awesomeness it would see if they did something like that.
I mean, they did it for the Cruiserweight title when it was in NXT during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And they did it for the Heritage Cup to crown a challenger.
I loved that.
Right, but I don't know if they're ready on the main roster to whip out a round robin tournament.
And especially if you did a round robin women's tournament.
Right.
I mean, it could be awesome. You could end up with like Becky and Charlotte in the final, which, I guess we should start off by talking about the Charlotte Flair injury. She suffered I'm assuming it's a torn ACL.
I'm assuming it is, yeah.
They just called it a knee injury that would take her out for 9 to 12 months.
Yeah, that sounds like an ACL.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so hopefully she gets better soon. But man, wouldn't it be cool if like that tournament ended up with, say, Charlotte and Becky in the finals? And
it would be interesting. And the thing is, it's kind of now, what are they going to do? Mania? One of their big stars ain't going to be there in Charlotte.
Yeah, that's such a shame. I'm really, sad to see that for Charlotte. I know that she always loved performing at WrestleMania. Obviously, there'll be other Manias for her, but when WWE comes to Philly for WrestleMania this year, Charlotte Flair not on the card. That could be a little sad.
Yeah, I think it might be. Because, I mean, it is a big event. It is their big event. And love her or hate her, she's talented.
And without Charlotte Flair, I feel like the women's division is going to be missing star power.
Me too. Me
And
too.
especially since Ronda Rousey's now gone, she's in Ring of Honor, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me why you wouldn't just have her on AEW.
I don't think she's on Ring of Honor permanently.
Okay.
I think that was just a one-off because they were in LA and she wanted to work a tag match with her friend Marina Shafir. So I think that's because they haven't announced her officially signing yet.
Yeah. I mean, and to me, like, if you did, obviously, she would be a marquee. You know, you'd have Ronda Rousey versus Saraya at the next pay-per-view, and with World's End, which I guess I don't know what our status for next week is going to be. Look, Christmas week is always a crazy week.
It is a crazy week.
So we can just, yeah.
I'll be here. If you want, we could go on, or if we're too busy, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, again, we could play it by ear. I figure we could just go ahead and, well, we could just start with our year-end awards, and we could see where we end up if we want to preview World's End.
Okay.
Or just the end of the Continental Classic. I
Right.
feel like does it feel like it's going to come down to either Danielson versus Moxley, or somehow Eddie Kingston finds his way to the finals? Because I really would like to see that, since Kingston put up 2 belts, and is he going to get friggin' knocked out and never lose either championship, but not be champion anymore?
I thought they were building this for Danielson to win.
So did I.
From the beginning, but I really like the Eddie Kingston twist.
Yes.
And it's hard not to root for that guy.
Yeah.
Just his career, his life before wrestling, and it's just hard not to root for Eddie.
Everything like he says with such conviction. Like, you could just get Eddie Kingston a microphone and let him talk for an hour, and I'd be entertained.
Yeah, me too.
Now, you might want to have your finger close to the beep button, or, maybe on a station where it's okay to say certain curse words, but...
Yeah.
But the guy just... There's something about him that in a world full of fakes and phonies, something about him just comes across as real.
Yeah, it does.
Like, certain guys, when they're out there, they're doing their shtick, they're playing a character. Like Orange Cassidy, as much as that character is over in AEW, that's him playing a character.
Correct.
With Eddie Kingston, it's hard to see where the character ends and the real person begins.
It really is.
Like, I think it's just Eddie Kingston character is just Eddie Kingston.
And see, that's what really makes the greats, I think. Yeah. I think like
Piper. Corny said it one time. Yeah. Be yourself with the volume turned way up.
Right. Like Piper, like Austin. Mm-hmm. They were themselves.
Yeah, well, that's when Austin started to connect with the audience, when it was really him.
Ric Flair. I mean, that lifestyle was him. We've seen it in documentaries. That was his lifestyle. That's what brought people.
He lived the gimmick.
He did. And then today, like I went down to visit my parents for a couple minutes, and because they got Sean and I WrestleMania Sunday tickets, they were asking, well, how much do you think they could go for? And I said, depending if they book Cody against Roman, it's going to be the secondary market, I think, is going to be huge.
Yeah.
On Sunday. And I was just telling my dad, because obviously he doesn't watch wrestling, but used to when I was a kid. And I was telling him how Cody is, and I said he's got his dad's charisma. And my dad said, well, that's good. I said, granted, there will never be another Dusty. However, the story is compelling people.
It is. It's a very compelling story.
It is. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I do think Cody versus Roman's going to close the show Sunday. CM Punk Seth Rollins is going to close the show Saturday. I think both secondary markets for both shows could be in high demand.
I think it could be if it's.
And look, I'm going to be in the market to try and get one of those secondary market tickets for both shows. So it's
Right.
I may have to be prepared to spend a pretty penny.
Yeah.
Either that, or it might be from the comfort of my couch, and
Right. Yes.
which I got to be honest would absolutely break my heart to feel like that whole thing is happening right down the street from me, and I can't go.
Right.
But anyway, that's a different story. Let's get into our year-end awards.
Okay. So what are we doing for year-end?
So I think we decided that the male and female superstar of the year.
Okay.
And everything else is gender neutral. So whatever you feel is best.
Okay.
So I guess let's just start it with female superstar of the year.
Rhea Ripley.
It's hard to argue.
It really is hard to argue.
I tried to look outside WWE because in WWE, it's Rhea Ripley and then everybody else right now.
Right.
As far as for superstar of this year. Now, if you compile like their entire careers, obviously Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch.
Right.
But like if you just count January 1 of 2023 till what I can assume will be December 31st.
Right.
It has to be Rhea Ripley, at least from the WWE side.
Winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
And didn't her and Liv start the Rumble and they finished?
Yes. Yeah.
Winning it from the beginning. And then going on to putting on one of the best matches of the year against Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And just her work with the Judgment Day has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think even her work, like one of those, I always look for people who can transcend what they do. Like if you're a tag team, can you also be in singles competition? Can you be a part of multiple segments on a show? Exactly. And Rhea Ripley, I mean, like it or not, the oversaturation of the Judgment Day on Monday Night Raw, like, man, without Judgment Day, I don't know what you're doing on Monday Night Raw. And Rhea Ripley is the leader of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what they can say about, like, oh, we don't have leaders. Yes, you do. It's Rhea Ripley. She's the leader of Judgment Day. I agree with you. She's the female superstar of the year.
Yeah, I really don't think that. And this is one of those where I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like if you try, like, I guess I could listen to different arguments, but if Rhea Ripley is not at least being considered by you, I don't know that we can have further conversation about this industry because I feel like we're just too far apart to have we see it.
Right. I mean, in AEW, really the only one you could consider, I think, would be Toni Storm.
Yeah, she was another, because I tried to look for somebody outside the obvious answer, right, but I kept coming back to sometimes the obvious answer is the obvious answer because it's the right answer.
It's the right answer, and that's how I feel. It's just like mind-numbing.
Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, if you were to go outside of Rhea Ripley, which I think we both agree is the female superstar of the year, I would say Toni Storm would rank right up there. Another one that I really like what she did, even though I don't think she wore the Knockouts Championship at all in this year, but Jordynne Grace, who won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Which kudos to them in Impact for allowing a lot of those intergender type matchups.
Exactly. And I'm noticing WWE starting to blend them back in a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoy that as well. Like, let some of that physicality between the men and the women, let it happen.
Yeah.
Like, we all know it's a work. Like, nobody's really, you're not promoting, battering women. This is a work.
And honestly, like if you put Rhea against a couple of guys,
I bet you Rhea could take some of the, like in a shoot fight. I bet you Rhea could take a few of those guys.
yeah, Nia could take a few, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Becky could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think Charlotte could.
I think Charlotte could too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them I think could absolutely hang right there with some
Yeah.
of the men.
Yeah.
And I mean, and in the working world, make it look like a real great matchup that's compelling, that would give people reason to worry about the outcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so where were we at there? We just did female superstar of the year. So let's do, I'm gonna call it storyline of the year. And in all these things, I'll always just say interpret it any way you want.
Okay. Storyline of the year. Do we? You know what? I think Cody's story.
Okay. Just the overall arch of Cody from the beginning of the year to right now.
From between losing at the Rumble. I mean, winning the
Mania, yeah.
Losing Mania, and then how they've had him go through this adversity, the Lesnar angle, then battling Judgment Day, the War Games cage. I think they've really done that well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. I feel like we're going to agree a lot tonight, because I would just say the Cody story, like that has been, like it's at the night of WrestleMania. I remember thinking, how are you going to keep this going for a year? And now, when I heard Cody announce his entry into the Royal Rumble, I was really like, wait, we're at a year already?
Mm-hmm.
Like. And here we be, like, this is storytelling at its finest.
It really is.
Like, I always say, like in any line of sports, Hall of Famers have Hall of Fame moments. Right. This entire year has been a Hall of Fame moment by Cody Rhodes.
It really has. It really
has been. In 10, 15 years or whatever it is when we're putting Cody Rhodes into the Hall of Fame, we're going to talk about 2023 and 2024 as the years that made the American Nightmare.
We really are. And I think his story, not even this year, but the fact that he left WWE, became bigger and better, and then came back to WWE and is now at the upper echelon. I think that whole body of work, his whole career, is something that when he gets into the Hall of Fame, that should be highlighted.
Absolutely. That he left, he bettled himself, and man, did he come out a winner.
He came out a big winner.
Okay, turn of the year.
Turn of the year. Jimmy Uso turning on Jey Uso.
Very nice. Very nice.
At SummerSlam, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great turn. My turn of the year is MJF's turn to babyface.
Another great one.
And it's funny because it's the two different scenarios. One of it, a shock value of the Jimmy Uso turning on Jey. And I remember we even called it a little bit. We thought that one of them would turn. In fact, I think we thought it was going to be Jey turning on Jimmy.
Right.
But Jey has definitely been the standout star of the team.
Yeah.
Like, Jay's the Shawn Michaels. Jimmy kind of seems right now like the Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, he's just a background player.
Yeah. And so I think it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I'm very happy with that. And man, has that turn really, really been great. I loved the shock value. I loved in the SummerSlam moment, when Jimmy turned, even though I know we both even said we thought that might happen. when they announced that match. To me, when you can call it but still be surprised, that's when you know it was a great turn.
Exactly.
So I agree with you there. My turn, MJF being, going from heel to babyface. I'll tell you, I thought the whole thing was just to set up Adam Cole versus MJF and to really make us buy into it for All In. And they kind of did that, but man, they've really made me believe in it to where if it is Adam Cole as the devil, I'm going to be sad that we're not going to have Better Than You Baby anymore.
Exactly.
That being said, I kind of don't think it is Adam Cole.
Okay.
And I don't think it's MJF. I think it's probably the Kingdom and Roderick Strong.
Right.
And I think Samoa Joe as another member. I think maybe Samoa Joe playing the devil, and the Kingdom and Roddy as the goons attacking.
Could very well be. My thing is, do they have MJF lose the title at World's End?
I don't know. And I guess that's something we're going to have to pick either tonight or next week.
Right. Well, really, I think they've only officially announced like 2 matches.
Yeah. I guess the rest are going to, the Continental Classic Finals and the World Championship match.
Right. Yeah, I think we'll have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Tony Storm against the winner of that one, Rio, or I forget who else.
Oh, yeah, Rio and who's Rio facing? I don't even remember now.
I'll check.
Okay.
Well, we took chat.
But, okay, that brings us to Turn of the Year. Tag Team of the Year.
Tag Team of the Year. I gotta say, I know it gets boring every year, but is anyone better than FTR?
Dude, 7-star FTR. They are the best tag team in the freaking business.
It's like, really, is there anyone better than them?
And it's funny, all week since we've been talking about we were going to do the year-end awards, I had my favorites in my head, and I kept thinking, okay, how do I talk myself out of just taking the guys who, like, everybody knows are my favorites? And every time it was like I'd be like, okay, FTR, who else could really compete with them as far as Tag Team of the Year? I'm like, if I did up-and-coming team, if I projected out to 2024, maybe I could say the Creed brothers could.
Maybe.
But like, like certainly not the Young Bucks. They didn't do anything special this year.
No, they really didn't.
Aside from their little, wine fest about CM Punk.
Right.
And the what do they call them? The Young Jets, the Jericho and the Omega, of course, the Golden Jets, yeah.
They ain't young, the Jets.
No. Well, I thought maybe it was a parody.
No, I mean they had a great match at the last pay-per-view, the 2 teams.
Yeah.
They had a nice match, but it really, the Young Bucks have kind of been in limbo. I mean, they did win the ROH 6-man titles for a cup of coffee with Adam Page.
Yeah, with Hangman, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they haven't done much.
Yeah, and I tried again to think about, like, okay, do I want to, I mean, Aussie Open, I thought I had a good year up until the injury. And
I was very impressed with Kyle Fletcher winning the TV title. I was
as well.
Him, but I took Commander and.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, your guy made it all the way to the end.
Yeah, it was between those two, and I'm just like, who do I take? I should have went with Kyle because everyone knows I like Aussie Open, but I thought,
sure,
I think it's Commander. Yeah, well.
Well, hey, I look forward to those two having a one-on-one match for the TV title at some point.
It's coming up soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Which, again, I really hope that Supercard of Honor is on Honor Club exclusively, much like Final Battle was.
Hopefully. And it's got to be somewhere in the area.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to go. That would be a great time on that Friday night before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And maybe we can find tickets for Saturday for WrestleMania, and I'm sure it's gonna cost us, but either that or maybe just watch Stand and Deliver and then, go somewhere to watch. Although I don't know of anybody, like, are there any sports bars in this area that show it, like the premium live events?
I'm sure somewhere. I'm sure for WrestleMania they'll put them
right. Yeah, I would think. I mean, they should. I feel like there's still a market for that. Like, okay, it's not like the Attitude Era when everybody was watching them and you had like watch parties everywhere.
Right.
But maybe that's what we could do. If I can, my one buddy, we're talking about trying to go to WrestleMania one of the 2 nights. If he says to go Sunday, maybe one of our places we can have a watch party on Saturday. And we'll just sit here and watch.
Maybe
we can watch Stand and Deliver and then go right into Mania.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, as I say, we've got some time. I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think this is that rabbit hole that we talked about.
Yeah, generally it happens.
Yeah.
It's a show.
But gosh, man, we're agreeing again as FTR is my tag team of the year. Like, there's just nobody better.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
And I tried to think like, okay, like, let's not just go career, and I'm not going career based.
Right. And
it's really just this year, FTR was the best tag team.
Yeah, they are the best team. I mean, the only other ones that could compete are Goto and Yoshihashi, but again, it's FTR, I think, does it better.
Yeah, there's just no better tag team out there right now. Like, if you want a feature tag team bout, you go get FTR.
Right.
Like, I even tried to think about, like, gosh, well, were the Motor City Machine Guns together very much? Not really. I mean,
really, because Shelley's been the champ for a while.
Shelley's the world champion, and Saban's the X Division champion.
Right.
And I really want to see Saban cash in Option C against Alex Shelley.
I think a lot of people do.
And I just want to see the two of them. And I know we've seen the bout before, but I just want to watch the two of them tear the house down at the main event of a big time, or I guess TNA Plus event now.
Oh yeah,
now changed to TNA Plus.
And that I found that interesting that they worked with Endeavor to get for their streaming service.
Yeah, which to me says, okay, like Endeavor, why aren't you doing more with WWE in there? Bring back the regular WWE network.
Well, because they have a multi-year deal with Peacock.
I know.
So we can't get that yet.
Although I got to be honest, at first I absolutely hated the idea of WWE going to Peacock.
No,
but it's all right.
Yeah, they blended enough in there.
Yeah. So and they have their own page on it. You can go in there. You can find anything you've ever wanted. It's like I always felt like it was disorganized. Like I love the organization of the original WWE Network layout. Where okay, I want to find one of my fun games to play. And yeah, I know this is weird. This is going to be a fun game that I'm going to describe, but I would close my eyes on the WWE Network and I would just hit the remote like a few times, and whatever it landed on, that's what I would watch. And one time I ended up on like the Hell in a Cell pre-show from like 2014. I'm like, nope, not watching that. And I just skipped to the main show.
Right.
But it was a fun thing. Like I would do that like on a random night where it's like, okay, I've got nothing going on. Nobody wants to do anything. Jody's doing Jody things, and I'm
Exactly.
just like, you know what? I'm gonna just play WWE Network Roulette,
There you go.
which is something I would love to do again on Peacock if I could figure out the way to really, because I don't want to just land on a random television show on Peacock.
Right. Well, I think you'd have to go to like the WWE page.
I'd have to go to WWE page and like just randomly scroll around in there.
All the way down, it says all, and then just
Yeah,
go.
and just yeah. But then I run the risk of like it being some random documentary that I don't really care about, and like
That's what happens with roulette.
yeah. That's WWE Network Roulette. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Sometimes you do.
But okay, so I guess we've dilly dallied enough. We did tag team of the year. We did match of the year.
Match of the year. Okay.
This time I think we'll get some differing opinions. I don't think you're going to select my match for match of the year.
I think I had to go Danielson Okada at World's End.
Okay. That's a good call.
I think I have to go there, yeah.
Wait, World's End. You mean what was that? What was that event?
The Forbidden Door, excuse me.
Forbidden Door. Yeah.
We're
talking. Say, wait, World's End hasn't happened yet. How are you? You've seen the future?
Well, it's going to happen again in the Tokyo Dome, though, that match. So.
Ooh, is that what is that happening at
Wrestle Kingdom?
Wrestle Kingdom?
Yep.
Nice. I feel that cold coming on. I may have to call out of work that day, and
yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Which I did find out at work. It is they call it a 32 plus 8 week, that week of New Year's, where everybody works 32 hours. You get paid 8 hours extra for the holiday.
Right.
I took a vacation day on Monday, New Year's Day, just to ensure that I wouldn't be scheduled for New Year's Day. So that means I should theoretically have another day off during that week. And I'm scheduled the entire week other than Monday. And so I said to my boss, I'm like, so could I just pick a day? He's like, yeah. He's like, figure out a day if you want to take it. He's like, or you could just work the whole week.
Right.
He's like, all right, I'll figure it out. And then I realized, I'm like, wait, Wrestle Kingdom.
You could take off for Wrestle Kingdom.
I certainly could.
I think I might. It happens. Like, I'll take the kids to school.
Yeah.
And I'll sit and watch it to myself.
So what is it, like on at 5 a.m. or something?
Yeah, like usually around 5.
Okay.
I'll be preparing the kids lunches and getting their breakfast, do what I'm doing, and I'll have my phone, like seeing what's going on. And then I'll be able to sit and really enjoy it.
You know, I could bring over breakfast and we could watch Wrestle Kingdom.
We can work on it. I think we could do that.
I think we can figure this out.
I think we could.
That's going to be a day. But okay, yeah. Matt, your match of the year is from Forbidden Door, Danielson Okada. Love it. That's a great selection. My match of the year was one I recently, since I have the Impact Plus and they show the pay-per-views a month after that they air on live, which I'm thinking soon they won't be. It'll just be they're all on there.
Right.
And I love the Impact Plus events. All those events are awesome.
Yes.
I had to go to an Impact Plus. I had to go to an Impact match.
Okay.
And it was from Bound for Glory. And I knew I was going to love the match, but I didn't know, my God, it felt life-changing.
Okay.
It's Speedball Mike Bailey versus Will Ospreay. There was no real story behind it. It's just they tore the house down.
Exactly. And it's kind of like how I feel like Jericho and Ospreay at Wembley, they didn't have a good story. They just went out there and had a great match. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't sat down and watched Bound for Glory, but that is on my list of things to do with Impact Plus.
Yeah, Impact Plus is an absolutely. I loved the investment the day I made it. Like that, and I remember I also got. I signed up for Honor Club the same day,
Right.
and it was just. I sat there and I'm watching, flipping back and forth between these two streaming services. I'm like, how have I lived my entire life without these?
It's a good question.
Right?
It really is. Us children of the 80s didn't have such luxuries.
I know. I mean, the struggles that we had in the 80s where, like, people talk about, like, oh my God, you must have loved it. The Monday Night Wars, they were so great. I'm like, do you understand? There are 6 other days in the week in which we had nothing for most of that time until they came up with Thunder and SmackDown. I mean, you had the recap shows on Saturday and Sunday, but then it was like you had Monday Night Raw, Monday Nitro, and like I would always stay up and watch Monday Night Raw, and I'd record the replay of Nitro afterwards.
Right.
And sometimes those would be on at varying times. And so I'd have to put like a 6-hour tape in there, start the freaking thing at like, whatever time was the earliest it could start, and let it run to the latest time, which was usually like right around when I was getting up for school. And and I'd have to figure out, okay, where was where in the tape is Monday Nitro?
You would have probably killed me after I got married. Because I had I should have kept them. I had a collection of tapes that
me too.
Would have made someone's head spin.
Yeah.
I think I had every Raw and Nitro from like 96, 97 till 2009, 2000.
Oh, jeez.
I had Memphis tapes.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking Memphis Power Pro and Memphis Pro Wrestling. I'd buy off of a guy every month.
Mm-hmm.
This was back when they were the WWF's developmental.
Yeah.
You had Spanky. You had the American Dragon on there. You had those guys. Like, I had lost footage of them. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. And I should have just kept it all, but like because I remember before it went all wacky, Channel 48, every night during the week at midnight, would have a wrestling show on. Yes, it was CZW. It was WOW. They had NWA Wildside on for an hour.
Oh, wow.
They had a lot on, and
it's funny. I've tried to get into WoW, but I haven't been able to get into it in a while.
You know what? It's like my mom was saying, it's on broadcast TV wrestling. It takes off one of my shows real late at night. Mm-hmm. I said, you can't even consider WoW to be real wrestling. I said, remember when I was a kid, Glow? My dad goes, yeah. I said, it's the same guy who owned Glow has now tried this company WoW twice. And it's just like.
Didn't Ginny Buss or something get involved in it at one point? And now AJ Lee's involved.
I have a hunch you're going to see AJ Lee come back soon somewhere.
I would say it's a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble.
I think we're going to hear Light It Up.
Yeah.
And I think
it's funny. When I signed up for the network, for WWE Network, the morning that it came out at 8 a.m. when they promised that don't try to call before 8 a.m., call at 8 a.m., I had an alarm set on my phone for 7:55 to make sure to wake up.
Right.
And I right away called, and the hold music to sign up for the network was "Light It Up."
It's a great song.
It really is. And I'm just sitting there, and I was as excited as could be. And of course, the network had so many issues when it first came out.
It was vicious when it first came out.
I tried to, I really wanted to be the first person to sign up for the network. So that's why, like I said, I wanted to be on hold by 5 to 10 minutes before the time to sign. I'm sure I wasn't, but
yeah,
I really wanted to be customer number one.
Exactly. And then probably didn't happen. Hold on. Wanda, what are you doing? Stop that. She's trying to chew something up. Denise is giving Nikki a bath, and I look over and I have a dog trying to chew up some sort of trash.
Oh, boy.
It's so much fun.
It sounds like it.
It's a good time.
So, okay, where were we in our awards? Oh, yeah, we did Match of the Year. So now I guess it's time. Superstar of the Year.
Male Superstar of the Year.
Yes, I'm sorry. Male Superstar of the Year.
Star of the Year. This is tough.
Mm-hmm.
This is really tough. But to me, it's, again, because of his story, it's like, is Cody the Superstar of the Year, or is the story the Superstar of the Year? That's the tough part. Because
it's tough, yeah.
It is tough because then again, you have Seth Rollins, you have but then there's a guy who hasn't lost his title this year.
Mm-hmm.
Couple guys.
Yeah, two guys who are major world champions
that haven't lost this year.
Yeah.
So, like Roman, MJF, do you go one of them? But then again, I am a wild card.
You are?
So there's another guy who won a title January 4th, hasn't lost it. Zack Sabre Jr.
Love that one. ZSJ is my dude. I love that guy.
Yeah.
If I were going to be a pro wrestler, sports entertainer, whatever you want to call it, I would have pegged myself as a Zack Sabre Jr. guy.
Yeah.
I'd just be that guy to grab a hold on you, twist you, tie you in knots. Because I always figured I'm like, look, I know I'm a smaller guy, but I can't do what those freaking luchadors do. I couldn't fly all around like that.
No.
But I could grab a hold of you, and I would be like a little pit bull just freaking attached to you.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what Zack Sabre Jr. seems like. So I love that pick for Superstar of the Year, Zack Sabre Jr.
And how about you?
Mine, I'm going to go more traditional. You did mention him. I figured it has to be someone who's at least been a world champion at some point in this year.
Okay.
And you have to have been wrestling for one of the major companies, which I look at WWE and AEW and New Japan are the three
big ones,
major companies. And New Japan, I feel like, is meant for the Japanese audience and the hardcore wrestling American fans.
Yeah.
But the average mainstream, pro wrestling fans are going to either be mostly WWE guys, but there's going to be plenty. Like AEW is not completely mainstream, but they're mainstream enough.
Right.
So to me, male superstar of the year, again, has to have been a world champion. And in my mind, he's been world champion the entire year, but could you wrestle more than 4 times in a year? So I can't believe it. I'm going to say this as the male superstar of the year, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's better than you, and you know it.
Yeah, no, it is tough, and I mean he has wrestled more than 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Because
But
I
I'm
mean,
saying, like, because Roman wrestled only, like, what, 4 times? Like, or only defended his title, what, like 3 or 4?
Roman wrestled the Rumble.
Yeah. Okay. So he defended the title at the Rumble. So yeah, against Kevin Owens.
Right.
Oh, and Elimination Chamber. That's right. He defended 3 straight pay-per-views. I apologize, Mr. Reigns.
He did, because it was KO, Sammy, Cody.
Yeah.
Then he took some time off,
Sure.
and
Then he was in the tag match.
then it was him and Solo against
Yeah.
KO and Sammy, and then it was him and Solo against the Usos, and
Mm-hmm.
Jay,
And then LA Knight.
and then LA Knight.
So okay, he had 7 matches in 2023.
Pretty productive.
Yeah, 7 matches. So yeah, a little more than one every other month.
And then you hear this, oh, his reign's so long, and it's this and that, and
1,200 days.
you know what, though? He hasn't done anything compared to those old school reigns they compare him against.
No, and I mean, not only like the not wrestling at every pay-per-view or premium live event, like, dude, Hulk Hogan, Bruno, all those guys, they defended at every house show. Well, just about every house show.
House show, yeah. I mean, I get people have said he was a boring champion and he didn't give a lot of pizzazz, but Backlund was a hell of a champion.
Yeah.
Compared to what we got now, where it's acknowledge me and da 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 da.
Like, I mean, people complained about John Cena and the 5 moves of doom. Yeah, how many more moves does Roman Reigns have?
Not many. And Roman ain't that great.
I mean, what the punches or uppercuts or whatever he throws.
Right.
The Samoan drop, which I guess every Samoan is obligated to have the Samoan drop.
It does really come in the
Superman punch and spear.
Spear, yeah. Now, actually, I did think Monday Night Raw did change my mind about one thing.
Okay.
We actually do have a women's tag team that deserves the women's tag team of the year.
You're right. We really do.
Chance and Carter, because
yes,
NXT and then winning the women's tag titles. We actually do have a legitimate women's tag team of the year now.
We really do. And I think they're going to be the team that bounces around and like takes the titles to NXT, takes the titles to SmackDown, and really works and shows everybody what this women's tag team division can be. And I'm really excited for the 2 of them.
I give Triple H and the booking a lot of credit for finally pulling the trigger on it.
Yes.
I think now we could say, all right, this women's tag team title, they've had good champions, but they haven't had anyone to really stand out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bayley and Sasha, the Balls and Hug connection, I thought was really good.
Right.
Obviously, the Iconics. I loved that, man. The worst idea WWE. Well, okay, I shouldn't say the worst because there's always something worse. But one of the worst ideas I can remember in recent memory was when they broke up the Iconics.
That was pretty foolish.
And then fired them both. But
yeah, but to me, it's just I'm hoping that we finally get that rebuilding of that division.
Yeah, I really hope so. And I just want to touch on it. I don't know if you heard anything about the Liv Morgan being arrested for marijuana in Florida. Dude, weed is legal like in 51 of the 50 states. Like, I don't know what, like, if she was driving impaired, that's a problem, but
right. WWE suspends her for 30 days, but she's injured, so
Yeah.
So,
Like, it sounds like, just a token suspension.
yeah, I
I
think it's one of those.
don't know what that means about her status for the Rumble, because I know 30 days would be up before the Rumble.
Right. So I think she could come back.
Yeah, and I would think she'd make good sense to be an entrant in the Royal Rumble.
She would make really good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to choose right now, I mean, I know, obviously, I think both of our male choices for Royal Rumble winner are Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Right now, a female winner for the Royal Rumble.
Give me Becky.
Yeah, and it's funny, I really don't see anybody else. I mean, maybe Bayley?
Maybe Bayley.
To help push her and Io Sky and that, the implosion of Damage Control.
Either one of them, I'd be ecstatic with. Either one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm content with either one winning it.
Yeah.
I think they're building towards Becky more. I think she's going to have a match with Nia at day one, and then I think then they can, because they've started to allude to it a little bit between Rhea and Becky.
Yeah, they've teased it a little,
and they have been teasing about Bayley and Io too.
Mm-hmm.
Damage Control is gonna turn on Bayley soon.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. And that I know that's always the case. It's always just a matter of when somebody's gonna turn on someone, because they always want to. Whenever you have these friendships, these groups, it's all okay. Who are we making a star? How do we end it? Who's turning on who?
And see, the thing is, Bayley's been a bigger star than them anyway. Before
absolutely.
She brought him up to the main roster, and I really think it is a natural progression to really a huge face now, because to me, the biggest faces generally have to be a face, turn heel, and then turn back again, and that's when the
redemption story. Yeah,
redemption story makes them take off more.
Yeah,
and I think that's what's going to happen with Bayley. I think that's what's going to happen with this Damage Control.
Right, and it's really what happened to Becky too. When now I know she was way over when she went out on her pregnancy,
right?
And then she comes back and decides she's going to be big time Bex, and that was a big risk for her to decide to come back as a heel.
Yeah,
because of course everybody popped when they saw her come out at SummerSlam, catch Bianca off guard, and win the women's championship in record time.
Yeah.
And then to go right into being a heel, that was a risky play. But yeah, like I said, now the evolution of her as the babyface again, it's that great redemption story, and man, so she gets to knock off Nia Jax, the woman that made the man.
Right.
And on her path towards winning the Royal Rumble, going and facing Rhea Ripley.
Right.
The two hottest female superstars right now, Rhea and Becky. I mean, that'd be pretty nice.
Right. I thought that was going to main event Saturday, but I think we've had to change plans because someone came back.
Yeah, I do think that would have been the main event for Saturday, would have been Becky versus Rhea.
If it wasn't for Punk's return.
Yeah. Instead, you might see that open Saturday, because they always like to go with most important main event Sunday, second most important main event Saturday, third most seems like they want to open the show Saturday with.
Yeah. Yeah, because they opened it with Cena and Theory.
Cena, Austin Theory, yeah.
Right.
If you remember the second night of the second of the 2-night WrestleManias, the first one in front of a live crowd, they opened with Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley.
Right, which is still mind numbing.
Yeah.
And
it's still mind-numbing that they had Drew McIntyre lose that one.
Right. That's what I was saying. Because
Yeah.
everyone forgets it was Bianca and Sasha in the main event of night one.
Yeah, and man, that night one was really good too. I'll tell you, since they've gone to the 2 nights of WrestleMania, and I always exclude 36, the first one, because it was an empty arena.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the exception of this past year. Oh, that brings me to my next thing. I guess I'll circle back to that. But yeah, the night ones have typically, I think, been better than the night twos.
Yeah, they have been.
So I've decided this year, since everybody who watches the show knows about my road to WrestleMania, and every year I do the entire WrestleMania ensemble from beginning to end before WrestleMania. Well, I've decided it's too much for me.
No, 39 of them's too much.
Yes, 38 was the cutoff, so 39 is too much. So what I've decided this year, in lieu of the road to WrestleMania, what I'm going to do is every month I'm going to choose 5 premium live events from that month's history, like, and the entire catalog, like whether it be WWE, WCW, Impact, or Ring of Honor.
Okay.
I'm going to choose 5 events, and I'm going to watch. Like, so January is probably just going to be 5 Royal Rumbles. I'm going to choose.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
February, I imagine, a couple Super Brawls, a couple No Way Outs.
Right.
I don't know that Ring of Honor or Impact ever had a big February pay-per-view.
What was Impact's February pay-per-view when they had the 12? Against All Odds.
Okay. Maybe I'll find it Against All Odds that I can watch.
In February a lot, I think. Then they might have moved because they moved shuffled around. Yeah. But I think Against All Odds was in February.
Yeah. And of course, then when March and April will both obviously have lots of WrestleManias involved.
Right.
Let's see. April, May. May will probably have a couple Slammiversaries in there. They've done it in May, right?
June usually.
It was June. Okay.
It's
All
June.
Right,
oh, May you can have Slamboree, the Legends.
Ooh, yeah. I did always. I got every Slamboree from. Gosh. Although I don't think I got 95, because there was a period there where I wasn't into WCW. Like, after Halloween Havoc of 94, I didn't watch again until the spring of 96, right after Slamboree. And I remember being very upset with myself that I didn't order Slamboree, because I got 93 and 94.
Against All Odds was in February. I'm just checking that.
Okay.
Speaking.
Well, there we go. Yeah, I can sprinkle an Against All Odds in there.
Right.
I'll probably alternate between WrestleManias and Supercards in March and April.
Right. Yeah, you could. Slamborees and
Backlashes are in there too.
Yeah, Backlash was kind of more at the end of April.
Yeah.
There's a couple sprinkled in May, probably.
Yeah.
June would be King of the Ring season.
Yeah, King of the Ring and Slammiversary.
Slammiversary. And Great American Bash.
Yes, and Great American Bash. Good call.
And then July, you get Bash at the Beach.
Yeah.
Before that, Beach Blast, Fully Loaded. So.
Yeah, all the Destination X, that used to happen in July, right?
I remember that being in March a lot. And then I think they moved it to July. But in the beginning, I kind of remember Destination X. Hold on, I just was looking up. Destination. God, it's scary. Destination X was in March.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so that probably won't make the list for any of my March pay-per-views since I have WrestleManias and Supercards that I'll probably be choosing from. And uncensored, too.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Uncensored.
The only uncensored I actually really feel like was really any good was that year that they had the Team WCW versus Team NWO versus the Horsemen.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
Uncensored really, really has a bad history when you talk about major shows. I mean, the King of the Road match in which they had the Blacktop bullying Dustin Rhodes and an 18-wheeler fighting down the street. I mean, Uncensored was some bad stuff. I was going to say stupid, bad. I mean, they did a lot of malarkey.
It was the drizzling shits.
That it was.
Yeah. Uncensored was the drizzling shits. If I ever wanted to come up with bad pay-per-views to watch, I think you know what? Maybe I ought to try this. Sunday nights have been very difficult for me because Sunday nights I have a hard time falling asleep, getting myself back into the working mode. Maybe what I should do is try to watch some of the bad wrestling, bad WCW, like the uncensored shows on Sunday nights. Maybe that'll cure my insomnia.
What? A little while ago, but they could probably.
Are you guys done?
No, not yet. We're still chit-chatting.
Yeah, we're still going.
Sorry.
Another one would be World War III's were Trainer X.
Oh, yeah, they were. But I thought the concept was amazing.
That was awesome.
Every time I watched it, it was just like, wait, what the hell is going on? Like the three rings and having the three different camera angles going at once. Like it just looked like a clusterfuck.
It pretty much was when you look at it. It was 60 men. It started Battle Royal in 3 rings. And then it was just like, okay, once we get to 20, we'll all merge.
And it's like, okay, how do they know? Like, you know, if you're keeping the idea that this is supposed to look like a shoot, like how are they supposed to know? Hey, we're down to 20. Everybody get in one ring.
Right.
Like I'd be like, yeah, fuck you. I'm fighting this guy. Let's go.
And then the worst was, I guess, 98 when they finally said it's enough of this. When they had Nash like clean out that one ring within 3 minutes, and he's just standing there to himself.
Oh, that was brutal. And I was just like, okay, look, we get it. Kevin Nash won that ring. Can we just get off that camera angle and just go between the other two?
Right. Like, okay, Nash won that ring. You put all the luchadors in there, and he went nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, he eliminated all. It was Kevin Nash versus all the little crap heads. And it was like, gee, I wonder who's going to emerge from this.
Right. Only to get Nash to take the belt off of Goldberg the next week.
And then drop it 2 weeks later to Hogan.
WCW.
Yeah.
Don't ever change your bad ways.
I'm certainly hoping that AEW is not turning into WCW Junior.
Yeah. I think it is, to be honest.
I know. On that note, I think we're going to have to call the show because I know I'm going to have to go eat. I know the wife's probably getting hungry.
Hey.
Yes.
She's been home with the flu the last couple days. So.
Yes. And my wife just got a call. So, all right. I think we should call it a night and maybe next week.
All right. Yeah. We'll write it in pencil. Next week, we'll try to do a show. And we'll let you guys know when and where. And until then, happy wrestling, everybody.